Just back from the Bassmaster Classic, and we got a bunch to talk about. This week, we are joined by two-time Bassmaster Open winner, two-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier, the reigning EQ Angler of the Year, and the reigning and defending Bassmaster Classic champion, Easton Fothergill. But that's not all. Then we're joined by Jake Latendresse with Jake's Take. So this is going to be a good one. Both of them join me this week.
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course, you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 205th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you're watching or listening from in the world, life is treating you well. As you can hear from my voice, a little raspy, and I'm still in a somewhat zombie mode from the Bassmaster Classic. It is always a mind melter. It's just, there's no way to prepare for it. It is a long days, but awesome to be part of the Super Bowl of bass fishing. It was a crazy classic, and I think the thing that everybody needs to focus on right now is how incredible our Bassmaster Classic champion is. Easton Fothergill went from 20 months ago laying in bed and thinking he might die to the top of the sport and holding the biggest trophy, and along the way won a EQ Angler of the Year title, 2 Bassmaster Opens, a collegiate title to fish his first classic. I mean, this kid is absolutely a phenom, and he is everything good and right about the world. I mean, he's the kid down the road that just loves to fish and is ate up with it. That's who Easton Fothergill is. And I think we have an incredible Bassmaster Classic champion, and I loved watching it all go down. The Fort Worth was jammed. It was crazy. The restaurants, the stockyard, everything, like you couldn't move. The expo was jammed. Like for me, getting in and out of the expo to do live was a problem, which I mean, in a good way. And I am so thankful to meet all of you. It was awesome seeing everybody, but it was jammed. It was, it's a celebration of sport. It's the only thing like it. And it is awesome every single year to be part of. I want to thank all the humpers. I mean, the amount of humpers that came up, you guys are the best. I mean, I loved meeting all of you. I got to see my buddy RJ, little RJ. You know, you always see me. I got a picture of him right. Well, you know, behind me, that picture right there. That's RJ. I got to see him and his family. Always good to see him there. Got some gifts. Looky there. Got a Mercer belt buckle from Pinhook Fishing. Thank you. I believe that's his handle. Bunch of different folks that would roll up and just say, I'm a proud humper. And I'd be like, I love humpers. And people around would be like real awkward that aren't humpers. But I loved meeting all of you. Thank you all for your support. You have no idea what it means to me. I know people say thank you on platforms like this all the time, and you think they're just saying it, but I mean it. Honestly, you guys are incredible. Thank you for allowing this show to become a community. Thank you for allowing it to be a thing. I heard you loud and clear. We will come out with some humper merchandise. I've always been weird about that, to be honest. I've always kind of just been like, well, I mean, I'm just thankful people watch. I don't want to sell them hats and t-shirts, but you guys want them. So we will work on that, and we will get you some hats and t-shirts soon. Thank you all for making this show what it is, and a positive, great community. And forever I've been pushing that. You guys know that. Like, life is a lot better when you're positive. Life is a lot better when you're happy. And bad things are going to happen, but being happy and being positive helps life be a lot smoother. And I have pushed that a lot, and I'm happy to say now you're hearing more podcasts push that. And in this past week, I've heard more podcasts talk about being positive and building the sport up than I have in a long time. And some of the podcasts saying that now are not the podcasts that have done that for a long time. They kind of gone the other direction, but even they're seeing that, like, hey, what we got is great. Let's start celebrating it rather than tearing it down. And fishing's not about division. Fishing isn't about sides. And this isn't a pro forward facing sonar, anti forward facing sonar. Fish the way you want to fish. That's what I saw at the expo. I saw people from all around the world, people from Italy, from China, from Japan, from Namibia, all sorts of people, and just excited people that are just excited, families that are new into the sport. People that said, I've only been doing this a couple of years and I'm just eating up with it. That's the celebration that the Bassmaster Classic is. And if you don't attend it, you don't ever feel that. But that's also why you hear people say when they go to one classic, they're like, I gotta go every year. Because when we all get together and we really just feel that energy and that positivity, it's good. It's just good. We got a great show here this week. That being said, I try to be Mr. Positive, but I do go off a little in this show. Definitely throughout the second half of this show, I say some things about some of the stuff that's being said out there, and it's just ridiculous. We have a great Bassmaster Classic champion, and if you choose to focus on anything other than that, you're out of your mind. I'm sorry. It's just, we've got so much good. So sorry that I do go off. Some of you may enjoy it. It wasn't planned. It wasn't well scripted. It probably wasn't even well said, but it was welling up in me, and I kind of go off in this show. But that being said, the classic was a great classic. Weigh-in was a little weak first couple of days. I think there's reasons for that. I think the price of parking was not good, but that isn't Bass's control. You're in Dallas, Fort Worth, you're in a major area, and the parking's expensive. I don't like paying it either. The Ticketmaster thing, that was a Texas rule where you had to actually have a ticket. It was free, but you had to go to Ticketmaster app to get it. I'm sure that didn't help things. I'm sure the fact that we give everything away and have been for years, meaning all the information, you don't have to go to the weigh-in. But trust me, Bass will continue to work on that and continue to make things better. They want the classic to get bigger and better and be bigger and better every single year. But for anybody to pile on and be like, hey, this is why it's happening because of forward-facing sonar, because of this, stop it. Stop it. Find happiness and just start treating fishing for what it is, because we're a great, happy community. And it's gone too far. It's out of control. That being said, as a community, let's all come together and help somebody right now. Pam Martin Wells is not somebody I know incredibly well. I've met her several times. She's a Bassmaster Classic qualifier. I believe the top finishing female in Bassmaster Classic history. Finished 22nd in 2010. She's battling cancer, and she's in a battle for her life. And I know they started a GoFundMe, and they're trying to raise $60,000 to get her some kind of experimental treatment that could save her life. And I didn't hear about this till the Monday after the classic. And if I had have known about it, I would have mentioned on the classic stage, but I'm going to donate. I'll put the link down below. I would encourage all of you to donate to support one of our very own that is battling, like I'm sure she would support all of you. And like I said, I mean, Pam Martin Wells is not my best friend, not somebody I know incredibly well, but she's one of us, and we should do what we can. I know I'll do what I can, and I hope you guys do as well. So yeah, we get into some stuff in this show. We got a great show. Sit down with Easton Fothergill as he goes through everything he's been through and where he is now. So we have a great post-classic conversation there. You'll enjoy that. Then I'm joined by Jake Latendresse with the Ultimate Bassmaster Behind the Scenes show, Jake's Take. And he was with Lee Livesey for 3 days. So he gives us a bunch of stuff from on the water, from around the classic. We get into some late night shenanigans that happened at the Bassmaster Classic. I go off on some people that are just, well, getting clicks for dollars. But I think it's a pretty decent show, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll stop talking because I know you want to hear from the freaking Bassmaster Classic champion, as I do. So without further ado, let's hook up with him right now, the reigning and defending Classic champion, Easton Fothergill. Your 2025 Bassmaster freaking Classic champion, Easton Fothergill. How does that feel?
I mean, I've had 2 mornings now to wake up, and I was expecting one of the mornings it would feel real, but it still don't feel real. I don't know when it'll set in.
Is this, I mean, do you just feel like you're in a dream right now? Like, does it feel like this isn't?
I absolutely do. I mean, I've been rewatching the fish catches and the videos on stage, like the winning moments and stuff. I was just like, it don't feel real, not one bit.
Does it feel different than you imagined? Or had you ever stopped to imagine it?
I never thought I'd be in this position, to be honest. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I have all these people reaching out wanting to talk to me, and that's the craziest part. Like, I've never been in this situation before. So, I mean, life-changing for me, a dream come true.
When did you start to think, hey, this might actually freaking happen? Like, when was the first moment that crept into your head? Was it before the tournament, during the tournament?
You know, I was hesitantly optimistic, we'll say, going into the tournament after my practice. I was catching big ones, but, I'd catch a big one, put a waypoint down, pull the troller, and leave. Like, I really didn't know what I had found until the tournament. But like I said, when I did get a bite, it was a big one. So day one, it was slow and steady all day. But I would say day two, when I had a slow morning, but I made an adjustment and got right pretty quick, around lunchtime, day two is when I realized, like, hey, we might be able to make something happen this week. That's when I really realized, like, we might be doing something here.
You seem, and I keep saying this to you, but you seem so calm. I mean, this is probably the least jazzed up post-classic interview. I mean, you've got a plain wall behind you. You're very just kind of a mellow guy. Did it feel like that? Like when I talked to you on the beach on Sunday morning, your whole family around you, you were very stoic, very kind of not what you expect from a 22-year-old. Going through it, what did it feel like on the inside? Like, honestly, what did you really feel like?
I mean, my parents always ask me all the time, like, like, what are you feeling right now? Just because I don't show it, but I promise you on the inside, my mind's always racing, but I just don't express it, if that makes sense. But it's funny. My camera guy, Seth, after I caught that 8-pounder on the last day, when I got pretty fired up. He knew what that meant to me because he knows my personality. For me to act like that, that was special for me. Because I'm a very quiet person. I keep to myself, and for me to be that loud and that emotional, that's big for me, and that shows how much that fish meant to me.
You're not going to be able to keep to yourself very well anymore. You're the Bassmaster Classic champion. That's going to be a problem.
I know, and it's all good. It's all good, but this is all a dream come true, and I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Your whole angling career, dude, like really, like, I mean, obviously I got to know you through the collegiate thing first, but if you look at, what has it been, 20 months, in the last 20 months, what has happened in your life, less than 2 years, it has been like a storybook. Like if somebody had to write like if they were writing a movie, they'd be like, okay, so he's got to overcome something. Well, you overcame what I had to imagine had to be incredibly scary. You know what I mean? With your emergency brain surgery and where you're at right now, like take me back to the lowest point during that when you thought, what is in my head and what is going to happen to me to if somebody had said, guess what, in 20 months, you're not going to believe it, but you're the freaking Bassmaster Classic champion. You've won 2 opens. You're a collegiate champion, and you're the reigning EQ angler of the year.
I mean, it's crazy to think, I moved from Minnesota to go to Alabama to learn how to fish southern waters because I wanted to best set myself up to hopefully do this one day. And, I worked for it those 4 years. I made the bracket, and then that happened to me. And I was more down than I've ever been. And, I was telling my parents in that hospital bed, I don't care if you need to bring that IV stand on the boat with me. I'm fishing that tournament. I don't care if you have to wheel this hospital bed onto the front deck. Like, I'm doing it. And they were like, you're crazy. I mean, this is your life and that sort of thing. But, I'd worked so hard to get there. That's how bad I wanted it. Again, I knew the opportunity that had to change my life because, it's crazy that, none of this would have happened without that tournament.
Yeah.
I wasn't financially there. Like, I mean, who knows where I would be at if it wasn't for that tournament. I mean, it's unreal how much that tournament just completely changed the trajectory. And I mean, it's insane. Every dream that I've had came true because of that one tournament. Like,
Wow.
it's unbelievable how all that worked out.
Do you think going through that change? I mean, everything you go through changes you as a human, but to face what you faced medically, like never mind, I need to fish that tournament. I know you wanted to, but if things go wrong, if you get the wrong scan back, there's no pro fishing. There's no, did that had to change you inside, just how you look at things in life.
It absolutely did. And I think honestly that's one of the main reasons why I am able to keep so calm with everything. At the classic, in the position I was in, I was leading the tournament, but I was just happy to be
Yeah.
there. I mean, like, I'm at the Bassmaster Classic. What else can go wrong? You know what I mean? Like, and every trip I make to the lake, I look at the sunset and I just appreciate it because I know dang well how fast that can be taken away from me now. That time in my life really taught me that, and I think that's the sole reason why I'm able to keep so calm through these tough times and trying times. And every high point in my life now, it feels so much better after that moment, just because I'm able to really appreciate it.
Up to that point, I would assume, I mean, like most 20-year-olds, I mean, life, the sad truth about life is the less you have, the more you appreciate it. So as you get older, you appreciate it more. But when you're 20 years old, you're like, hey, man, I can live to 50. That'd be just fine. That's an old man. You know what I mean? Like, you just,
Mhm.
had you ever overcome anything like that?
No,
No.
no, honestly, up to that point, I was one of those kids that just thought he was invincible. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like most kids are. But there was times through that time period where I didn't think I was gonna make it. Like honestly.
Really?
Like I honestly thought my fishing was over. I didn't know. I mean, at first the doctors told me I had a tumor, like a big giant cancerous tumor is what they thought it was at first, before I went to that MRI scan. And, as you can imagine, the thoughts going through my head at that time were, I mean, beyond scary. And then, it was, I remember because when all this was happening, I mean, I can't even describe the pain I was in. Like, I have these doctors telling me, but the pain is so strong, like, I can't even, like, emotionally, like, think about it. Like, I mean, the pain that I was in was, I mean, I can't even describe the pain I was in. But these doctors are telling me this, and I'm just like, oh my, like this is the end basically. And then I remember the doctor coming in late at night saying, you have an abscess, we're taking care of it right now, you're going to surgery. No time to think of it, we're going into brain surgery. And next thing I know, I wake up from surgery, brain surgery. And I mean, just the time period of all that happening was unbelievable.
Had you had any kind of surgeries before that?
I tore up my elbow playing baseball and I had surgery on that. So I mean, I've been through surgery, but
Not
I mean, that doesn't really compare.
brain surgery, and not
Yeah.
emergency brain surgery where you don't. So you actually had that moment where you were laying in a bed thinking, this this was it. This is what I got. Wow.
Yeah, that went through my head, absolutely. But like I said, I had so much pain that I don't know if I was fully emotionally, like, fully mentally processing, like, this might be the end, but, yeah, it's so hard to explain, but
Wow.
just I that did go through my head, like, this might be the end.
Wow. Wow. I think it's a true inspiration, dude. I think it's amazing. I mean, I think that eh, to go for where you've been, I mean, it's my job to always find things for people to hold on to and cheer for, to get emotionally invested in somebody. You didn't have to look very far for everything that you've overcome, for everything um that you've been through, and to stand atop of the sport. Like when you hoisted the trophy, do you even think anything in that moment, or like what is happening in your head when you're holding that trophy and confetti is shooting out everywhere? And
I was just thinking, like, how grateful I was to even be there in the first place, let alone win it, like, honestly, I was thinking about, my everything that I'd gone through, like, how crazy my life's been up since the moment we just talked about. I was just honestly sitting there holding it over my head when my head dropped. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, the journey from that moment till now. Just I was replaying every moment I've had, all the highs and all the lows since that moment. My mind was just flowing of just all the highs and lows since that time. I mean, it was definitely a moment I'll never forget.
do you feel almost I mean, I know you told me before. I mean, hard work is in your family. Your dad's always told you, you got to outwork everybody, no matter how talented you are at anything, which is the freaking truth in everything.
Mm.
Um, but do you feel almost, do you think going through that and getting this second shot, almost so to speak, at life, because at that time you thought, hey, this might not go well, does that drive you to be the first on the water, to be the last off the water, to just squeeze every ounce of juice out of life?
It absolutely does. Like, I with that, it made me grateful, like I said, but it did give me another drive, another level, I guess you could say, of motivation. I mean, it another thing it taught me is, you get one shot at this, you better do it right, I guess. And with that, I'm going to work my heart. I'm going to do my very best at this one shot at life that I have. That's another, main point that it taught me for sure.
There's people, sadly, the truth about life is when people are at their highest, just like when you were at your lowest, there was people at their highest on that day. But there's people right now at their lowest in that situation you were at. If you could give those people advice, what would it be?
I mean, both my high points in my life right now have come after lows. I mean, the low of my first two Elite Series event is a much higher low than my abscess moment, but it was a big low for me. Being how competitive I am, that really hurt me to have two bad finishes in a row, being my first Elite Series events. I mean, I was pretty down about that, and you just have to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you just have to work through it. When I struggle in life, it just drives me to work even harder. It doesn't matter if, it's 1:30, I have 4 fish in live on the Bassmaster Classic. As the time keeps ticking, I work harder and harder and harder to make it happen. And I guess that's just when times are tough, you just got to dig deep and work hard and know that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
You brought it up. I was going to mention it, obviously, at some point during this conversation, but at 1:30, 4 fish. What, like, did you know it was going to happen, or did doubt start to creep in?
I mean, I talked to some of my buddies and they didn't show it on Bass Live, but right after I caught my first 4 pounder, I lost one right about 7 at the boat on a jerkbait. And I thought that might be the classic I just lost. And that thought was hard to keep out of my head. But one thing I've really taught myself over the last couple of years is when you lose a big one, you got to flip that into a confidence motivator really quickly, because, you obviously did something right to get that big one to bite. And, you got to switch that into a confidence. Like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do this. I did something right. If I got one big one to bite, I can get another big one to bite. And that's something, really big that I've driven into my mind the last couple of years, because we all lose big fish in tournaments. It happens to everyone. But if you sit there and dwell on it, that'll hurt you. But if you flip it into a confidence booster, like, I'm doing something right, that big one bit my line, it'll really help you in the end. And there was, 10 minutes of, struggle. I sat there and dwelled on it, but then I thought, like, we're doing something right here. Let's work hard, and, hopefully we get another opportunity. And, right there at the end, we finally got another opportunity and we capitalized. So, I mean, that I'm just so glad that there was 3 camera boats right behind me that got that moment of, that I don't think I'll ever top that in my fishing career, a fish catch like that at that time of that magnitude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it was a buzzer beater, right? Like, I mean, it was more than a buzzer
Mhm.
beater. It was. I mean, you didn't just hit a shot. I mean, you hit the shot. You did something so rare that at that point, you don't get to see what everyone has, but you knew, I'm a Bassmaster. Unless something
I
unearthly
knew,
happened,
yeah,
I've won the
right,
Bassmaster
right,
Classic.
right. Yeah. I mean, I knew, the caliber of fish in that lake were definitely there to beat me, but it would take in the biggest bag of the tournament in order to beat me. And I mean, that's all you can ask for. I knew there was a very high chance that I had just won the Bassmaster Classic. And, Chase Sansom got a picture of me with my hands on my head, sitting on my live wells after I put that fish in. And that was the moment where I was just like, man, like, I did it, man. This is unbelievable. And, that picture is very moving for me for sure.
Take me in your mind in that moment to say you were just sitting there thinking, I did it. Like, what do you remember what was flashing through your mind at that moment? Or were you just,
I mean, I don't remember the exact, I mean, the tournament wasn't over yet, so I was kind of still in game
yeah.
mode. Like, I was kind of just like, I might have just won the classic, but, it's not over yet. Let's get back up. And we got to, like the buzzer had not gone off yet. There was still time in the day to, there was still work to be done. So, but there was definitely a brief moment where I put my hands on my head. I was like, oh my. And then I was like, oh, there's still time. And I got back on the front deck and, we finished it out. But I mean, yeah, insane.
You hear people say they're speechless, but I really feel like this classic for you is, I mean, every interview, everything you've done, it ends with you just aghast almost, if that's a word.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it truly does have me speechless. I mean, there's nothing else I can say.
You said you have to rally after losing a fish. You have to fight through and you have to turn that negative into a positive. How do you do that? Like, is there a mental exercise you go through to turn that around, or is that just a way to keep yourself calm and keep focusing on the next cast?
That's just a way to keep myself calm, I think. Like I said, when I struggle in a tournament day, as time goes on, I work harder and harder and harder just because, for one, I know that. So I guess it all goes back to my fishing style. I mean, my goal every single day is to put my lure in front of as many fish as I possibly can. That's what I'm trying to do every day I go out on the water. And I I know in the back of my mind, if I put my lure in front of as many bass, I'll have my opportunities. And that's my philosophy and that's how I operate. So when I'm struggling, I guess I just dig deeper and just know, okay, I almost speed up. Like, I got to put my bait in front of more fish, more fish, more fish. And I just work harder and harder and harder. And then, hopefully, if I do that, my opportunities will come. And I guess, yeah, with anything in life, really, when I'm struggling, it drives me to work even harder.
When we did our rookie interview together, we talked about music, and you said you're a big Whiskey Myers fan, and also that rolled into you being a big Lay Livesey fan. Were you as big a fan on Sunday when you guys were jockeying in the same area, basically? And at one point, he was pretty close to you and caught 2 big fish. I mean, a little less of a Lee Livesey fan at that moment, or or what was going through your mind?
No, I'll always be a Lee Livesey fan. You know, he just seems like a really good dude, and I've gotten to talk to him a little bit more, and you know, I'm all for him. But there was, I mean, I was struggling in the morning. He was in the very back of that pocket. He was catching some big ones, and you know, I guess I was doing my best to block that out, but he's out there hooping and hollering, you know, screaming, and it was. I mean, it was obviously it's hard when I have zero fish in the box and he's back there hooping and hollering, but you know, that's just another motivator for me to work even harder. And um, you know, I caught my 4-pounder. I think we were almost hooked up at almost the same time. He had caught 3 big ones, and I caught my 4-pounder. I was just getting going, and he already had a good start to his bag. And you know, from then on, you know, we were fishing completely different. He was up in the shallow grass, and I was kind of trying to, you know, pick them off as they're going back to him. And I was looking at great big ones the whole time as he's back there hooping, hollering, catching them, but I couldn't catch them. So it just drove me to, you know, I got to figure out how to catch these dang things. And ultimately, I ended up having to leave that area. But you know, I don't know, it was a super cool deal to be able to fish, knowing it's home lake. It was kind of like, dang, I got to figure this out, but also a confidence booster. Like I'm probably in a pretty good area here, kind of deal. So, I mean, it was pretty cool to be able to fish back there with him or near him.
I don't know if you're aware. Have you ever been to a Whiskey Myers concert?
No, I want to so bad.
I'm pretty sure we can get you hooked up. And I don't know if you're aware of this, and it's so odd that before you have ever seen them perform, Cody, the lead singer of Whiskey Myers, was in the crowd when he watching you win. Like,
Really?
yeah,
That is awesome.
yeah. So I'm sure we can hook you. They can hook you up with something. I mean, there's all sorts of benefits of being the Bassmaster Classic champion. You're just starting to realize those.
There's no telling how many times I listened to Lonely East Texas Nights last week.
Really?
I mean, on repeat. And I made a post after I think it was day 1 or day 2. I did that as my song on the post. And like when I would drive to weigh-in after the day, that song was on repeat, just blaring. Like I love that song.
What did that song? Why that? Like, is it just you like that song? Was there certain words in that song? Like, what stood out about that song that made you play that on repeat on your way to winning the classic?
It just brought out it made me calm for one. It made me think about how I'm in Texas fishing the dang classic. It just brought back so many thoughts for me. I don't know, just how grateful I was to be there is what it made me think of really on that drive each day. Yeah, I guess that's the feeling that it was able to bring out for me. Just a lot of thoughts of, you know, what it took to get here, how grateful I am to be here.
You had a lot of family there. You had, you know, you got a pretty unique friendship with Nick Dunphy, your high school and college buddy. They were all around you. What does this feel like? I mean, I know you're the champion, but it has to have a bit of a team feel to it.
Absolutely. No, he actually started practice for a college tournament on Monday. Well, he was supposed to, but when he knew I was in contention and I told him like there's a good shot at this, he jumped in the car and drove over late Saturday night, got there, you know, early Sunday morning. But it was, you know, it definitely was super cool to have him there. You know, I guess even before the bracket tournament, we won team of the year in the college circuit. Obviously he was my team partner. So, you know, he helped me get there for sure. You know, we went through a lot together and through the college years, and it definitely did feel like more of a team thing. I think he felt that too, I hope. It was a super cool moment to have him there. You know, all my family was on stage, but when I held that trophy up, he was the first person I saw in the crowd.
Really?
You know, he was right there in front of me on that walkway. He was the first person I saw when I hosted that trophy, and we made eye contact, and that was a really cool moment for me.
I think some of those moments happen that nobody, but they're the coolest. Like, and it's not like you just know that you guys are. Look, you know what I mean? Like he's that special to you that's who you searched out in the crowd and saw first.
Yeah.
What was it like afterwards? Once the confetti had fallen and, you know, you go backstage, you go through a bunch of media, They put you in a decompression room, which I don't know how much decompressing happens because there's media in there and stuff now. What stands out from you from that whole post-winning experience?
I guess the biggest thing I remember from all that is my dad hugging me from behind saying, "You did it." That's a really big moment for me. He's the one who got me into this in the first place from a super young age. We fished countless of tournaments together, and he's the one that I adapted this mindset, my tournament mindset from, of, the whole cover water, put, baits in front of fish, keeping an open mind. I learned all that from my dad. I completely mirror his tournament mindset, and, obviously it's worked a little bit. So, but he knows everything I've been through firsthand, what it took to get here. And, for him to, just come up behind me and hug me and say, "You did it." That was one of my biggest life moments for me, for sure.
There's people who go their whole life and never hear that kind of genuine attaboy from their dad.
I know Strike King just sent me a promo of the episode that's about to come out, and they got super good audio of him saying that, and the chills that it gave me of him saying that, it brought me to tears. That meant so much to me.
I left you at the victory party, and you had a big long line of people waiting to get pictures with you and congratulate you. Who is the most shocking congratulations you've got so far? And if maybe it's not one, maybe it's several, but who stands out to you to be like, wow, they're congratulating me?
I guess a really cool one is my camera guy, Seth.
Yeah.
He was my camera guy at the bracket also. So my biggest two life-changing moments, he got to share the boat with me.
Damn.
And he was, as we were leaving the stadium, he was the first one. He jumped in the boat with me. We took a picture. It's been really cool for him to be with me both those times, both my life-changing moments. For him to be able to document those, it's been really cool to share those two moments with him, and for him to be there. Like, he was another one, like, "You did it, man." Like, you really did it. And that was definitely another moment where I was like, wow, man, like, this is insane.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mount. Beatdown Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beatdown Outdoors. Now back to the show.
I think that relationship is so undervalued by everybody on the outside. They don't realize the connection that you guys have with camera guys. And Seth is one of the best, and to have shared that with him, but it's so much more because, I spent some time with you on the stage. Different people have interacted with you, but Seth was with you the entire time. Like, nobody got, and I don't think people realize how important that relationship is. Like, it's not just a guy holding the camera. It's the conversations that you guys have. It really is a huge thing.
It really is. Yeah. All throughout the day, I don't think hardly any of it was on live, but he's like, "What are you thinking, man? Like, what are you thinking?" And I'm just like, "Man, like, it's not going my way. Like, we got to make something happen." And then he's like, he's just always so supportive. Like, "Man, you got this. Just keep working. It'll come. It'll come." And for me to finally make a right decision and to make it happen, you can see it in the pictures. He's like this, like, while he's videotaping. And you can tell it meant the world to him too. And actually this morning he wears one of those watches where you can see the heart rate, and he sent me the heart rate from the day, and you can see a giant spike where I caught that 8-pounder. That was super cool for him to send me that. And that just goes to show, like, me, just like them, we both feel like it's a team deal when we're together in the boat. It's super cool to be able to share those moments together, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The camera folks definitely, they don't get any of the paycheck, but they do feel like there's they want their guy to win. They want, and I understand that, because when I used to be on the water doing coverage, you get to who you're covering, this person, and you want your horse to win. Like, the person that you've covered since day one, or the person that you ended up spending most of the week with, like, you do get an emotional connection there. You had told me Polnick has been your entire career. That was your guy. That was the guy that you looked up at. And he had texted you throughout the Classic. What did he say to you? I was across the room and I saw him give you a big hug, stood in the line to meet you with everybody. What did he say to you?
He said, just like my dad said, that you did it, man. That's what he said. And, he knows as well as I do that, a lot of times your best highs come right after your lows. And that's kind of what he was reminding me after, or the week leading up to the Classic. He would send me a little motivational clip along with, just, he would say it's just something short, like one bite at a time, just go through the motions, that sort of thing. Just something short, something sweet that would live in my mind throughout the event. And, it definitely helped keep me calm for sure. Driving to the ramp in the mornings, I would watch the little clip he sent me, and that would live with me throughout the day. And to have that connection now with one of my idols that I've had for so long, that was big moment for me.
Huge. No, that's super cool. That's super cool. Let's shoot our shot right now. All right, let's just try to do something. You're the Bassmaster Classic champion. If you can accomplish anything, now's the time to do it. So let's shoot our shot. If you could get any company to sponsor you, dream sponsor, who would it be?
Chick-fil-A.
It's a strong one.
I was jealous of Rob G, I'm not going to lie, because the amount, look at this. The amount of Chick-fil-A I consume, anyone who knows me, it's pretty ridiculous how much Chick-fil-A I eat. And, they're, from what I could tell, they're a company that has, they do much more than, serve people good chicken. From what I can tell. So it'd be super cool to work with them one day for sure.
All right. Chick-fil-A. Let's do this. So your Bassmaster Classic was fueled by Chick-fil-A is what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. 2 nights, the local one was open till 10 o'clock. So I'd get home and start rigging rods at like 9:30 or so. And my parents would hit Chick-fil-A on the way home and bring me some. So definitely fueled by Chick-fil-A.
All right. Chick-fil-A, let's do this. Let's take care of this kid. 22 years old. You've won the biggest event there is to win in the sport. You've accomplished an incredible amount already. Is there anything left? Like, do you worry that, or does it just fuel you to do more?
There's still a blue trophy there that needs to be accomplished. That's a big one for me. And, just like anyone, like I remember Gussie saying, after you win one Classic, it makes you want another one a whole lot more. So, there will never not be a motivator for me. I'm competitive just like every one of the other anglers. So once you get one, it just drives you even more to get another. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Why does it drive you to get another? Like, what about it? Do you like?
Just that feeling that I felt on that stage when I won. That feeling is something that you don't feel very many times in your whole life. That feeling that you get when you do that, and just what it takes to get to that feeling. That's what we all chase, is that feeling. So, yeah, every event that we go to, it's all about chasing that feeling of victory. And, it's very hard to get there, but it's so sweet when you do.
Is that the greatest feeling you've ever felt in your entire life?
Absolutely.
Not even close.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close. It was kind of crazy when I hoisted the trophy on the middle of the stage there was all kinds of like static shocks going through the trophy. And I was like, that kind of spooked me at first. Like I was getting shocked through the trophy.
We need to figure this out, because last year during Hamner's post-Classic thing, he said he felt a shock shoot up his leg. Now you're saying you felt shocks.
Really? Mine was in my hands and my arms. It was coming through the trophy. Like I was getting shocked like crazy as I'm hoisting it.
Like uncomfortably shocked?
It just scared me at first before I knew what was going on. But it definitely caught me off guard. That's for sure.
We need to look into this. This is a problem. Because as the guy who holds the microphone, it'll be real uncomfortable if I have to explain that our classic champion just got electrocuted. So, like, what level of shock? Like, are we talking like when you put your tongue on a battery kind of shock?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, it was a, when you touch metal with your hand or something, your pinky, like you get shocked. It was definitely more intense than that for sure. I mean, it was a good little shock, and it was like,
What is
yeah,
happening?
I don't know how that happens. Like, I don't know why because there's nothing touching the trophy. I thought it would come through my feet if I was gonna get shocked. Like, it was kind of,
Yeah.
but it caught me off guard. That's for
Maybe
sure.
it's been happening for years, and the classic champions are always just so happy. They just never. I mean, it's just like you, the way you said it. I was kind of getting shocked during the trophy. I mean, now I'm asking you what you're thinking. Really, what you're thinking is holy.
Yeah. We'll have to ask Gussie if he got shocked too.
I mean, that's a crazy pattern. That's 2 in a row that have claimed of the electricity of winning the Bassmaster Classic is a real thing. What'd you do Sunday night after the toast?
Dude, I went to bed. I'm not one to get real active on a I'm not a big partier, I guess is what we could say. But to be honest, I couldn't sleep throughout the whole event. I was so stressed out that I just crashed. I couldn't do it anymore.
What was the moment like when you woke up Monday? Like, did you had to have that moment where you were like,
yeah, when we walked into the house, I think we got home at like 1 a.m. Sunday night. I put the trophy on the little coffee table that we had in the living room with Airbnb, and it was pretty cool to wake up the next morning, get up, walk into the living room there, and there she was sitting there. That's kind of, it still hasn't set in, but that was a cool moment. Like, wow, there she is. She's still there.
Have you spent much time looking at it, or have you not had, like, you've just been posing for pictures with it?
Yeah, I guess I haven't really sat down with it yet and really, I guess, thought about it too much yet. I haven't really had the chance to.
How many texts, emails, notifications did you get immediately following the Bassmaster Classic?
I think I had 450 text notifications on my phone last night, like, actually, because my girlfriend Liz, she asked me how many I had, and that made me look. But I mean, emails has been hard to keep up with. I've been notoriously bad with emails, so I'm having to get better with that very quickly after all this. And then, like, Instagram, for example, I've over doubled followers since I won. Like, that's been a super cool deal too. And yeah, just how well my win was documented and being able to look back at all my fish catches and all that has been super cool also.
When we talked during your rookie interview, funny enough, we talked about sponsors, and you said, hey, a lot of them are kind of taking a wait and see approach. And you said, I'm hoping to deliver them in 2025 and things will be great. I would assume you delivered.
I think so. I think, we didn't start out too hot. I probably had them a little bit worried there at first. No, we came around. So, but no, I definitely, yeah, I think that'll help a lot in that scenario too. I mean, super cool.
If you could write the narrative for your classic, what would you like people to take away from this classic win? When they look back at your classic moments, what do you want them to say?
Just, I guess, like I said about my 2 low moments, just know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think, even all 3 tournament days, I had low moments where, I'm kind of struggling a little bit. Like, you just gotta just know that if you keep working, keep at it, it'll start to go your way. And yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is just know that when it's bad or when it's good, I mean, when it's bad, it can't stay bad forever. That's the biggest thing.
Do you think do you have any goals of this classic rain, or is it too soon to, you know what I mean? Like I remember Iconelli, when Iconelli won, Iconelli said, "Hey man, I want to take fishing mainstream. I want people that have never fished to be exposed to this sport through me." Have you had a chance to even think outside of the box, or is this just too fresh?
I think my biggest thing is, like I said on stage, I just want kids to realize that it is possible. There's so many times where I didn't think it was possible. I mean, it just all the way up until just recently, it seemed so far out of reach. Like, I mean, just didn't seem possible watching all these guys on TV. Just, I'm just like, how do I get there? Like, but I just want to tell kids and just let them know, like, you just take the route Bassmaster provides you, and it is possible. I mean, I worked my way up the ranks. I didn't, I just did it through hard work and dedication. I mean, that's what it takes to get here, and it is possible. So I guess that's the biggest message I want to have to show kids that just chase your dreams. Anything's possible.
If there's anything negative that comes from this classic, there is a lot of older generation that doesn't like forward-facing sonar. I don't know if you've even heard any of that noise, or want to hear any of that noise. In your generation, what is is bass fishing alive and well? Is it in trouble? Like, what are the thoughts? I mean, not you specifically, but you know a lot of collegiate competitors. You know a lot of people. What is the feeling about the sport today to them?
In my generation, it's alive and well, 100%. I mean, it's very interesting, the sort of divide that we have right now. It's kind of crazy, honestly. But in my generation, I don't think there's the youth movement in the sport is definitely alive and well. And with my win, I think it definitely did show a lot of college anglers, especially, that like, wow, like he really did it straight out of college. Like, I mean, I think it's been super cool to hear some of the kids, like, you're my motivator, you're my inspiration, like, I want to be you. That's been probably some of the coolest moments I've had in my whole life. Is I don't even know how many of those messages I've gotten on Instagram saying, "Easton, I want to be you one day," and that's super cool for me.
Yeah. What did Jordan Lee mean to your career?
Jordan Lee was, when I started fishing in college, was right when he was winning his classics, and he was the first one to show me that it is possible to take that route. And he definitely one of my mentors and one of my motivators for sure. And I'm waiting to go weigh in, and him and Carl Jacobson came up to me and said, your life's about to change right here. And that was another cool moment for me. Having both of them guys, two guys I look up to for sure, saying, like, congrats, man, you did it. And then that was just so many moments like that where I was like, wow, this is insane.
And you never even had to go through, like, rolling in, you knew that I'm about to win the classic, right? I mean, the whole drive back, I don't think there was much doubt in your.
I mean, yeah, you had told us not to look at Bass Track, so I didn't do that. But as soon as I got to weigh in, or the check in, there's people like, "Congrats, man, you did it!" Like, I mean, I knew. So, but it was, yeah.
The problem with those people is this: they do that sometimes, and they ain't right. Like,
right. No,
there's been situations where people, and hey, in your situation, I mean, there's classics that are like that. I mean, the record that you just beat, which we'll talk about in a second, but Van Dam's, I mean, he knew he won going into the arena. Everybody knew he won. But that is the evil thing. Like, people, I mean, Davey Height went through it where literally he didn't think he won. When he got off the water, he's like, I didn't have enough. And everybody he ran into started congratulating him. People started, asking questions for interviews like he had won and stuff. And then he went, all of a sudden he goes up on the stage and boom, takes two shots from, I forget who beat him. I think George Cochran beat him in that one, but ends up losing, and he's off the stage, and none of those people that told you won are around you. Now they're around that other guy. Like, that's the evil. Like, you imagine that emotional roller coaster. That's the weird part about it. But no, you won, and it was truly incredible, dude. I mean, it's amazing to me to have stood there and look, and I'm like, we have one of our eventual champions, you and Trey McKinney, standing side by side. I'm like, they have a combined age of 42, and they're standing on top of the sport. Like, it's wild. It's wild.
It is wild. I mean, yeah.
To win a classic's amazing. To win with the most weight ever. To take a record away from Kevin Van Dam, which he has many. What does that feel like?
I mean, that was honestly, didn't even know it was his record until the champions toast. You know, I'm taking a picture with I don't remember who it was I was taking a picture with, but all of a sudden he shows up between me and the person I'm taking the picture with. His head just appears right next to mine, and he's just sitting there looking at me. That was it. And then I turned back to him. He's like, "Hey, man," and that was the first time I ever met Kevin. Was
Oh,
in
really?
that moment, and
wow.
yeah. So I'm sitting there holding the trophy in this hand, shaking Kevin's hand in the others, and that was a moment. It was super cool. And he's like, "Hey, man, you just broke my record." And you know, from then on, he's just congratulating me, how proud he is of me, and that sort of thing. But that was very cool for me. I mean, I didn't know it was his record that I broke, and I mean, for me to break that record, you know, that was what was that, since 2011 that record stood? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean,
how old were you in 2011? Like young.
Like 9 or 10.
No, maybe? I think less. Yeah. But
no, less.
But that's wild.
Yeah. Young.
Wild. Do you remember his classic? Like, are you I mean, you said when I asked you when you started dreaming this, you said since I could comprehend what's going on. Do you remember what the first classic moment that stands out to you was?
I mean, I don't think I watched this classic when it happened, like live, but the 04 classic talk, that classic's always meant something to me. Watching the video of him going to weigh in, I honestly, I thought about that video when I rode to weigh in after I caught my 8-pounder. That's kind of how I was feeling riding to weigh in. And I had two buddies from back home text me that video and say, "Was this you?" And that was. I mean, that's a classic that I've definitely looked back on a lot. But yeah, I mean, yeah, crazy.
Being kind of a quiet guy, you know what I mean? Like you said, you stay out of the hoopla and the. Was it ever kind of awkward, this whole experience for you? Like, were there times where you were like, I better not screw this up?
When I held the trophy up, it was kind of one of those moments. I'm usually not one to like being in the spotlight, but obviously I soaked up that moment for sure. But like the Super 6 deal, I kind of was a little nervous about that, screwing that
so
up.
Was I.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, I guess those were the two moments. But yeah, I mean, like the champions toast, for example, all those people coming up to me, that was super cool, but also a lot for me at the same time, being my personality of staying in the shadows, and I'm just sitting here, like everyone in the whole room is looking at me and I know it, and I'm just like, I mean, it was a lot for me, I'm not gonna lie, but I was also extremely happy to be there.
You come from an incredible fishing state, Minnesota. I mean, incredible fishing history, but I believe you're the first Bassmaster Classic champion. Has that sunk in yet?
No, it hasn't, but to think of all the, you know, high caliber pros that we have, and even like the Al Linders and the Linder family, and just, I mean, everyone that we have from our state is, you know, for me to be the first to accomplish that is super cool, and something that, you know, I don't take for granted at all. I mean, I think I had just about every pro that fished from Minnesota reach out to me after I did that and just congratulate me, and that was, I mean, super cool. I mean, everything that's come about from this whole deal has been just, I've had countless moments of just sitting back, just thinking like, how cool is this? You know, I mean, insane.
You're 22 years old. You just won the biggest event in fishing. Comes along with $300,000 plus. In your situation, and I can't wait to watch it roll out. I think your best case scenario as far as like how you're going to maximize this with sponsors, because I mean, if you're a 20-year established pro, it's hard to maximize it as much because you already have bigger deals with people. Your deals are about to get a lot bigger with everybody. What is the first big purchase you're going to make with that check?
I mean, very shortly, I'm going to buy my first house. So that's going to be a big chunk of that for sure. I mean, I'm still in Alabama renting with two buddies just so it's cheap until I figure out where I want to kind of set up home base. So I'm kind of just hanging around saving up my dollars to buy a house. So that's going to be my first big purchase for sure.
So you're back in Alabama now in the apartment with your two buddies. Where's the trophy?
Mm-hmm. It's sitting on the coffee table in the living room. I'm not going to show it because the coffee table's messy, but we cleared a little space for her for sure.
Do I know your buddies? Are they anglers, or who are you rooming with?
Yeah, one of them's Nick Bunke, who, as you know, and then the other one's name's Cal Culpepper, also a heavy fisherman.
So what did they say when you came home?
One of them's actually, he's traveling for work, and Nick actually, he came back here, fished for slept for a couple hours, and he went to a college tournament on Kentucky Lake, so I didn't even get to see him. So they might have came in and just got a glance at it while they walked in and walked out, but that's about it.
Well, it's not going anywhere. It's yours, and it's yours forever. And the best thing is now you're already qualified for next year's Classic, so you're part of it in Knoxville.
I can't wait. It's going to be super cool. Watching Gussie win there was a super moving moment for me. I was front row in the stands. Gussie's someone that I've competed against around the house a lot because, we don't live too far from each other. So there's going to be a lot of cool moments going through my head competing there. And, to think that I already will have the opportunity to is pretty crazy.
It definitely worked out. I mean, the beginning of the week, I kind of joke with you calling this event the eraser. You can erase those first two events with a good finish here, and you freaking erased it. You blew those up. But do you feel more pressure now to perform on the elites, or has this relieved pressure?
It's relieved pressure, I think. It's crazy to think my mental state in those first two events. I fished, I watched G-Man win AOI at Mille Lacs, I think it was 2016. And he, like he always does, he did kind of a speech on stage on kind of what he's thinking. And he said, because day one, he had a brutal day one. I mean, I think he fell out of the AOI lead even. And he was just explaining to the crowd that he fished scared. And he knew what he was doing was completely wrong, but he failed to make the adjustment to do so. And that's exactly how I felt in Florida. Both events, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but it's like I was scared to make the adjustments, which is completely unlike my fishing style. Like that's what I completely, that's what I pound in my head every day is to keep an open mind. And I think it was just the nerves, being starstruck that I was there, just, I don't know, man, but that's definitely the biggest reason why I had those finishes was I just fished scared. And I think the nerves just got to me a lot.
Did those nerves or those tough finishes on the first two elites, did that help you come into the Classic a little bit more dialed in?
I was focused. I can say that. I was pissed off a little bit. I mean, I was bound and determined to switch this trajectory around for sure. I mean, I am so competitive. Like I hate losing. I mean, it was burning a hole in me to know I had those first two finishes. So, I was doing all I could to switch my season around for sure. Like I was bound and determined to do so. So I think it definitely helped a little bit.
So when you don't catch them, do you you legit get pissed at the fish, at yourself? Who you pissed at?
Myself more than anything. Yeah. I mean, I feel bad. Like my family came to St. John's, and as we all know, I did really bad there. And I'm trying to like appreciate that they came to support me and everything. Like I'm trying to, do that. And then I have that finish, and it's just so hard for me to be in a good mood when I get home that night. Like I really struggle with that a little bit. So, I mean, yeah, it all comes down to, I hate losing, and I'm ultra competitive. So I think that's kind of how you have to be to succeed in the sport. You
Yeah.
have to be that way, I think. So, but yeah, I just hate losing. That's it.
Well, now your family's experienced both sides because they were at the Classic and you did not lose. You did the exact opposite of lose. It was a pretty incredible event, and to watch literally dreams come true. I mean, I said it a bunch of times. I said it on stage, but I mean, in 3 days, I mean, everybody knew who you were, but in 3 days, you went from Easton to Beaston, and and weirdly enough, I think that explains who you are, though, too. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not boisterous. You're not, but on the water, you're an animal. You're a beast, and I think we're going to see a lot more from you in the future.
I appreciate that, and I hope so. We'll see. I mean, I know in the sport you can never get too high or too low. You just gotta kind of ride the waves and keep an even keel. So, I mean, I'm just so grateful for everything that happened last week. Definitely did change my life for sure. But yeah, I just really can't wait for what lies ahead. I mean, I think this really kickstarted my career. My biggest goal when I qualified the elites was to just, I want to stick around. I want to make a good career out of this, and I want to do it for a really long time. And I think this last week really set me up for that.
That is is that still your ultimate goal? Just to be a pro angler your life?
This is what I want to do my whole life. Yeah, that's my top tippy top goal is to, I want to have a career where I don't have to stress about like money, and just I want to have like a happy, good career, and enjoying it, and hopefully I want to continue to try to change kids' life, and to instill into them that it is possible. That's kind of my biggest thing that I want to accomplish in my career.
Some good goals. Some good goals. I'm going to do something here that I do every single year, but in my hand is a jar full of confetti, and they're all separated by discs. They're all different discs with different winners. I mean, these are not used often nowadays, but back when I started this jar, these were a thing. Kevin Van Dam's record is the first one in here, and I'm going to add your confetti
awesome.
to that I picked up off the stage after weighing, and you're now part of the confetti collection that really means a lot to me. I don't know if it means much to the rest of the world, but it means a lot to me, and we're enshrining you right now.
That's so cool.
Did you get any confetti?
Oh, I did. I saved some.
There was a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot.
You're now in the box.
That's
and
awesome.
Only time will tell. I mean, you may be in that box again in the future.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, because that's what you're going to have to fight. That's the next thing. People will be like, oh, he's 22. He's won one. Look out, Kevin Van Dam. Here comes your records. I mean, I think that's one of the weird things in the world where people don't allow you to absorb a moment without saying, okay, well, what's your next moment?
Right. Yeah. No, we'll strive for another one now. I mean, you got to.
Chick-fil-A sponsorship. Right. Tickets to a Whiskey Myers concert. Anything else we want to throw out in the universe?
We'll start with those two. If we can accomplish those two, I'll be a happy camper.
Well, I don't know if I can get a sponsorship, but at some point I can guarantee you'll go to see Whiskey Myers, and I'll ask them if they can pick you up at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, congratulations, dude. Enjoy every bit of it. The amazing thing about you is you're who you are. I think this last little hour we've spent together also proves that you don't change. You're exactly, I think if we had done this interview and you didn't do well in the Classic, I mean, sure, you might have been a little bit more down, but you're still the person that you are. And And I think that says a lot to the world. The world needs to see that you know, although you are Beaston, you're just a normal dude who just loves to fish. And one of the most telling
That's
things
right.
you said in one of your post interviews was, "Hey, if the trophies and the tournaments go away, I'm still going fishing."
Yeah, exactly. No, it's what I do, man. I mean, I literally wake up each morning just thinking about where I'm going to go catch the next one. I mean, it's what I live for. It's all I do. So just a love for the game.
Wow. It's been awesome to watch, and I can't wait to watch the rest of your career unfold. I appreciate you making time to do this. And can I go to see Whiskey Myers with you?
Yes. Let's do
Deal.
it. That'd be a big job.
Deal.
Yeah.
But you got to party a little more, okay? I need to see the.
If we go to Whiskey Myers, we can
All
make
right.
that happen.
It's
we
in
can
there,
too,
right?
yeah.
It's in there. I mean, there's a darkness in you.
A couple times a year, maybe we can make it happen. Yeah, we can.
We'll make it happen. He is the reigning and defending Bassmaster Classic champion, the amazing Easton Fothergill, from Easton to Beaston in just 3 days.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Another classic under the books. How you feeling, Jake?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all, actually, considering this year, I think last year I left on late Sunday night and flew back to Colorado. This year I stayed through the Classic. And ironically, as soon as you awarded Easton the trophy, we went over and gave him a big hug as he pulled into the under the arena where he gets mobbed by the media, and we just gave him a big hug and we left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's on this show obviously and he talks about it, but it's kind of cool too. You know, you've got your relationships with different anglers, and him and Seth have a pretty, like, I mean, Seth was with him when he won his collegiate championship, and now to be
His
with him,
bracket.
like, how awesome is that to win the bracket with the guy and then to be with him during the Classic? I mean, it's freaking awesome what Easton's done, but it's also pretty cool for Seth as well.
It's a story. Yeah. When we were all at dinner, went on at the end of day one, we were all at dinner, and Lee had obviously made the top 10 again. So I was going to stay in his boat. And Seth did speak up at dinner. Seth Doman, who we're talking about, he's been with Bass for 4 or 5 years now as a camera guy. And I was actually at that same college bracket when Easton won. I was in Tucker Smith's boat, and Seth was in Easton's boat on the final day, and that was literally 2 weeks after post-surgery and all that drama, medical drama that Easton had gone through. And so Seth spoke up and said, "Man, I would love to get in Easton's boat," and everyone agreed that was the appropriate thing to do. And lo and behold, Seth gets his back-to-back as a camera guy. He gets his back-to-back Classic wins because he was in Justin Hamner's boat last year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing your juice, Jake.
I know. I got to get a new face mask.
Well, congrats to Seth, back-to-back Bassmaster Classic champion. I'll call him the back-to-back champ all year. But Seth,
and he did a great job.
Awesome dude. Great camera guy, great part of the team. And me and Easton talked about it, but I think that's such an I guess if you're not there, you just don't see the value that you guys have. Like, when people think of, the connection with the camera person, they're like, oh yeah, well, it's somebody that doesn't bother you. But it's also, the highs and lows you go through together. You really feel like you're part of a team.
I've always likened it to, professional golfers and their caddy, where there's lots of talk. I mean, when we get into, my Classic experience with Lee, what a lot of what I have to say today was just the relationship based camaraderie that we have in the boat. I know how to work with him. When he comes to the back of the boat, I go to the front. There's so many dynamics that there's so many things that can go wrong when you have someone that you're familiar with, and you're comfortable with, tend to be less things that go wrong than there normally would under duress. So yeah, it's a, we all have relationships. When I first started working at Bass, covering events, especially, let's just go straight to when we started doing live, because that's when we went to 4 camera guys, um, and to 10 to cover live. Once we first figured out how to cover live, it got crowded, and I'll be the first one to admit it was kind of awkward at first, because we build these relationships with these anglers, and it's something that I can't describe it, but you're really proud of it because you're friends with what other people in general think are superstars, and here we are, hunting with them or fishing with them during the off season, or going and having beers or dinner, or whatever, meet their families, their wives, their kids, and we become part of the family. And it's something that we're really proud of, because aside from getting paid for what we do, that's really one of the fringe benefits of our job, is that we're part of this big, traveling circus that we call Bassmaster, and we're friends with everyone and we're part of it. So that means a lot to us. And, initially when we moved 10 or 8 new guys into the trailer, there was some jealousy and some jockeying going on, and, attitudes would flare, and it was really kind of awkward, because you're established and you got new people coming in. They want to be what you have, the relationships with the guys. And then all of a sudden, they're gaining these relationships, and they've been around for long enough now. The crew that we have right now, I can honestly say, is the best, most sustained group and consistent group of camera guys that we've ever, in the 14 years that I've been at Bass. And I think most of the production crew would agree that this is the best team we've ever had, because everyone has risen to the same level, and now we're consistent. And that's it's a really great part of Bassmaster to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
So you had a boring classic in the way that you stayed in one boat the whole time. You were paired with Lee Livesey, who was a odds-on favorite going into the classic, and he fished well enough that he kept you in his boat the entire time.
And that's really the goal. When I walk at every tournament, especially the classic, when I step onto a boat, the goal is to be in that boat 3 straight days for the classic, because that means whoever I'm with is making money and they're doing well. They're staying in the top 10. And so I'm always happy to be in the boat from start to finish with Lee. We all some of the stories that we have from the boat, just being in the boat during this tournament, we could probably talk for hours about some of the stories. There's always something that happens that no one hears about when I'm with Lee, so it's always exciting.
Well, that's why people tune into Jake's take.
I guess that's true.
Without those, they'd be like,
It's not my congeniality, you mean?
Well, maybe. You're a nice speaker. So take me through the week.
Well, we ironically, where Lee was, he knew that was going to be a very strong and significant location based on the time of year. We were at Ray Roberts. The spawn hadn't really started yet, but it was very close, and he knew all that stuff. He's fished Ray Roberts many, many times and made a lot of money on that lake. And so, and ironically enough, where he was fishing, there was lots of the top 10 were there. Ben Milliken was there. Corey Johnston was there. Easton Fothergill was there. Lee was there. Who else? Tyler Rivette was there. Brian Schmidt was there. there were lots of people fishing in a really small area. So, and especially with the wind that we had on day 1 and day 3, that lake fished really small. I mean, I think Lee and I only really went to, in all 3 days, we only went to 3 different, maybe 4 different spots. We did go back to where John Cox was fishing, and dude, the spot he was fishing, like he was literally fishing in a small farm pond by himself. He had a few visitors. Carl Jacobson and Greg Hackney came back there a couple times, but he literally had a farm pond to himself, and the amount of and quality of fish that he caught was unbelievable, because I don't think people realize how small his area was. I mean, you could barely move a boat around back there.
Wow. That's typical him, though. I mean, that's
It
what he
is.
finds.
It is. It's very typical of him. But Lee he power fished, and he fished his way. I don't think he ever turned his front facing sonar on, and he on day 1 he was throwing that.
Didn't
So
he
he had
use
this.
it? Didn't he use it some?
Not much. I mean, maybe a little to scan around between spots and to check some deeper spots in the trees, but for the most part, he was casting into the milfoil, and he was on day 1 he was just fan casting back and forth on this big milfoil patch, and he found one open sand spot in the middle of it, and that's where he caught every single fish he weighed. I believe that's right. Every fish that he weighed on day 1 came off of that one spot, and he was throwing a pink chatterbait
The
with this
DDP.
a
The
DDP,
dog dink pink.
and it was, and it wasn't fuchsia, it was flamingo pink, baby, and I'm
That's
and
probably a better way to describe it than what I do. But
hey, man, they were eating it. They were choking it too. I mean, every fish he caught, it was down the gullet.
why do you think he went DDP? Dog dink pink.
Because he's had success. I asked him that because there's a lake that I fish out here called Lake McConaughey, and historically it's always been pink, has always been a really good color on that lake for whatever reason. The forage base are crawfish, gizzard shad, and alewives, and pink, and it's like gin clear water, and pink just for some reason it works really well on the wiper hybrids, the giant walleyes, the giant largemouth, and the big smallmouth in that lake. So I was curious to know why, he chose pink. Why, of all the colors he could have chosen, why he chose pink, and I suspected that it had been historically successful on Ray Roberts, and that's exactly what he said. He goes, "Yeah, it's always been a good color on this lake." So he had 6 cents custom make those baits for him. I think he told me he had to make them promise that he wouldn't share that with any of the other 6 cents anglers until after the event, or until they found out what he was using. So he was the only one that had access to that color at that time. I'm pretty sure, you know, people were probably calling him off the hook trying to figure out how to order that bait, and they're going to make him now. But he had exclusive rights to it for 3 days.
That worked out pretty good for him.
It did. It did. On day 1 anyway. It changed. He caught him on three totally different baits. Each day was a completely different bite. And like on day 2 he was throwing the white or the pearl whaler swim bait, the 4.5-inch swim bait that 6 cents makes, and he couldn't. I think he caught his first fish on that pink chatterbait, and then he couldn't buy a bite with it. So then he started throwing that whaler in the same areas, and he was catching. That's where he caught all his fish. And then on day 3, he caught them all on a swimming worm.
Swimming worm, yeah.
Yeah, on a Texas rig. So and I think at one point, it was all in the same area, but I think one of the issues that they may have all had over 3 days too was there were so many gallery, fan boats in the area, and they wanted to get close. It was kind of isolated in this pocket. There was 3 pockets in this on this on the shoreline that they were fishing. Corey and Milliken were sharing one, and then Schmidt and Easton Fothergill and Lee were sharing the first primary pocket, and then there was another pond on the other side of the point that they all kind of just went to randomly. But there was probably, at one time there's probably 30 fan boats out there, and I don't think anyone, no one said anything to them, but that's a lot of boats on a small area, and especially with Easton out there with his live scope trying to get through the other boats and scan the trees and isolated trees out in the open. I think it kind of became a problem, and for some reason those fish vanished on him on day 3 when he came in there. On the morning of day 3, Lee caught. He went back in the pocket, was figured out the swimming worm was going to get bit, because he wasn't getting bit on anything else. His first cast with the swimming worm, he threw it into these trees, where he knew that this funnel, this channel, came through the trees into the back pocket where they traditionally spawn. And dude, he caught like three, two 5-pounders and a 3.5 or something like that, like in literally in 30 minutes. And he thought he was onto something. He's like, okay, they're about to move back in here and spawn. The water was 60 degrees. This is getting ready to go down. Easton's out there searching back and forth. He caught one 4-pounder there that morning and literally could not find another fish to even cast at. So he left and took most of that gallery with him. So it was kind of like, okay, now you've got this all to yourself. And he went back in the back of the pocket, pulled down, facing out towards the lake, and just never could get bit again. So, I don't know if it was timing for that time of year or what, but good Lord, those fish, all the fish that they brought in were like this long and this fat.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, they were fat.
They were bulbous.
They were. Most of the fish that I thought were 5 pounds were like 6.25.
Yeah.
But I had fun. I always have fun with Lee, man. I fell down. No one knows about this yet except the production crew. But at one point, when it's really windy, I like to put my knees up against the backrest on the passenger seat, so I balance in the back of the boat and I can stabilize my camera. So and it's blowing. You guys know how hard it was blowing on day 1. And man, the back of the seat, I guess I put too much pressure on it, and the back of the seat broke. And oh, you think it's funny, huh? Dude, I'm telling you, I went face first like a freaking tree and just went, boom. I landed on my camera on the step going up to the front deck and literally crushed the live view unit on my camera and totally went black. Like I was broke. Luckily, I had another unit because I was supposed to plug it into his
Graph.
his graph so that we could do picture in picture. So I pulled the live unit off of that, put it on my camera, and we had to reprogram it. Howard had to reprogram it in the truck and all that. We got back up on live. But man, I've never taken a fall like that, and I'm telling you, if the camera hadn't been between me and that aluminum step up, I would have definitely gotten hurt. I was sore as it was, but I took a big digger. So that was drama on day 1.
What did Lee say when that happened?
I can't say what he said. lots of expletives. But he did his ultimate message was, "Are you okay?"
Did he laugh at all?
He did after I started laughing, but he was genuinely concerned initially, because I hit hard. It was just, and he was casting off the front. He had no idea, and it just went boom, and my camera exploded. So
I see.
that was my event. And I think there was one time where Lee on day 3 did you see where there was a pond in the back of one of those pockets, and it
Yeah.
had a dam, and he literally levied up on the levee and was bomb casting as far back in that pond as he could, and he actually caught the very last fish, his fifth fish of the day. He caught a 4-pounder at it was like Easton caught his 8-pounder at 2:36. Because when I heard it on comm, I looked at my watch. It was 2:36 when he caught that 8-pounder, and then like 3 minutes later, Lee catches the 4-pounder, and he still obviously doesn't know what's going on, and I'm kind of deflated because I want my guy to win, even though I was happy for Easton. But he bomb casted a fluke as far as he could, and he was jerking it back, and the fish bit, and he actually stuck the fish for a second. He came flying off the deck and ran into me on the back deck. And then he fell down he bounced back. Yeah, he came back, he hit me, fell into his console, and then fell on his back on the front deck. And he was laying there really kind of just like, dude, he worked so hard, Dave. I mean, he really, really, really wanted that win. Obviously, that's his home state. He fought hard. I mean, he fought his butt off, and Easton actually opened up that window of opportunity. On day 3, there was an opportunity where Hunter, Trey, and Lee all caught Easton in weight, and I literally thought, oh my goodness, he's going to choke. Like, this is actually, there's an opportunity for someone else to win this tournament. And of course he didn't know that, but I felt for him, A, because he's my friend, but B, because he wanted that win so badly, and he worked. I'm telling you, I've never seen Lee Livesey work that hard for 3 straight days. He always works hard, but he was definitely putting out the extra gas to make it happen because he had such large expectations for himself. He didn't want to let the fans down. I mean, did you hear the roar every day that you introduced him, to the crowd? I mean, he was no doubt the people's champ at that event.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a lot of people cheering for him. And I mean, he put himself in, he did what so few people do. I mean, normally if you're a pre-tournament favorite going into the Classic, it's hard to be the local favorite and do well. He did well. And not only that, he found the freaking fish to win. Clearly, I mean, he was in the right area.
Clearly,
he just didn't get him. I mean, when Easton weighs 29 pounds, that's one thing. And then, it did seem like there was going to be a shot for it to be a lot tighter than Easton caught an 8-1. Late in the day, and
sealed the deal. I think the thing that Lee did everything right. He never did anything wrong. He made good decisions. He changed baits when he needed to. And I think bad luck maybe just kind of snake bit him because he caught 5 fish every day, and he had 23, 22, and 22, right? So he had good weights, and his goal before we took off on day 1, his goal, he told me, he said, I want to catch 23 to 28 pounds. If I can do that, I'll win this tournament each day. And he was a pound short on day 2 and day 3 where he had caught 22 pounds. But even besides that, what the fact that he didn't catch one big kicker fish was what really got him, because had he caught a 7 or an 8 on each day, then that tournament was a completely different outcome.
Yeah. Well, he had a good Classic. I mean, it was a fun Classic. It was a strange Classic. There was a lot of strange things happened. I mean, there was some real strange stuff. I mean, did you hear about the scrap at night?
No, I didn't hear about that. Let's hear it. Now you got to tell.
Well, Lee was there, and it was like a scene from a movie. He just kept sipping his drink, but a famous internet dude. I mean, he's talked about it, so I'll talk about it. But Slick got in a scrap at the bar. I wasn't there. I've seen videos of it, but he's got a black eye.
with a fan.
I guess, yeah. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't need to put myself in a position where I know, but somebody was not happy with some of the stuff Slick said, and somebody went to using their hands to describe how unhappy they were. And yeah. I mean, there's videos out there. I'm sure most people have seen him by this point of him getting choked out, and I mean, he's got a black eye, and
Wow, he actually got choked out.
well, like they were dragging him out, but it's like he didn't tap, he didn't fall asleep.
Oh.
I don't want to get in the middle
Yeah.
of Slick's wars, but like,
Yeah.
let's all get along. It's bass fishing. Why are we fighting in friggin' bars at night?
That's
like,
what
how
I was- that's
stupid has this all become? Like, really, the internet has gotten so out of control. It's just ridiculous. Nobody needs to be laying their hands on each other. But whatever happened,
I agree.
happened.
I was going to say
But
that.
Lee looks like friggin', it's like a scene from a movie. Like, if you see the video, he's just sitting there drinking his drink, and like, while people are fighting over him, basically.
Hey, he's that's actually Lee to a T, really. In you know, since he's been up in the elites, it's kind of been like that. He knows how to stay out of trouble. He's always on the fringe of the action, but he knows how to stay out of trouble. And to his benefit and to his credit, that's how you handle those situations. You just got to stay out of it, man. It's like my son's boxing coach tells our boxers in the gym, we're teaching you how to fight. We're teaching you how to fight properly, and you never need to use this. The first thing you need to do when someone insults you somewhere and you think you need to fight back, you need to turn around and walk away, because that's the best way to handle it. And like you said, the internet is so out of hand now. It's like, dude, we're bass fishing, and the hate. I mean, even the hate that Easton was getting over all this was like, dude,
It's so gross.
You people make me want to vomit.
It's so gross.
Like, literally, I'm sorry if it changes your attitude about me, but that young man, what he has done and his story, the which you guys are going to hear, I'm sure, as part of this show, you guys talked about it in the interview, I'm sure. I mean, his story is incredible, and he knows how to fish.
Yeah.
He just knows how to find them bigger on front-facing sonar, and he's 22 years old. He's been through a tremendous amount of adversity with his medical conditions. He's an amazingly humble, quiet kid that you can't help but love and be happy for. And those people that are out there bashing him, you don't know him, and you're completely wrong about all of that. He is a tremendous kid, and you better get used to it, because that guy is going to be around for a long time, and he's going to be one of the he already is now, but he's here to stay, and he's going to be one of the major superstars in bass fishing for a long time. That dude can freaking catch
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, no, that all of that stuff is gross to me, and I don't have a
agree.
problem with people not liking forward-facing sonar. There's a lot of things
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
fine.
about forward-facing sonar. I am not its biggest proponent. There's been, and I don't know what
Likewise.
the future of forward-facing sonar is. Is it going to be here forever? Maybe. Is it not going to be? Maybe. I don't know. But bottom line, his job is to catch the 5 biggest or 15 biggest over 3 days bass using whatever techniques are legally allowed, whatever technologies, and that's what he's done.
Tools, techniques, rules, all that. He was completely within those boundaries the entire time.
And to do anything but congratulate a kid that literally within a 20-month span went from laying in a bed and thinking, I'm going to die. Like, there's a chance this is how it, like, he literally says that. He said, I thought, this was, and then he's standing on top of the sport holding a trophy, and some dude wants to use that as his pulpit. Like, I mean, I don't know, I'll get hate for this, but I got to say it. Randy Blockett, I'm never going to totally agree with you, but I have never lost more respect for you than I have in the last few weeks. And you can say, and you can look at me, and I know there's, and I'm so thankful for everyone that watches this podcast. And I know we have viewers that have watched this podcast because of, they met this podcast through Randy Blockett. And you can love Randy Blockett all you want. But to take every opportunity and try to tear down the thing that you profess to love, that you profess to, is just gross to me. And I would feel that way. It doesn't matter what it is. You know what I mean? I just feel like if you really love something, like, show me the benefits. Like the worst thing, like if you get into sales of any kind, the first thing they tell you is you don't sell your product by insulting another product. And that's all it's become. It's, if it's not the way I like to do it, then it's wrong. And that is wrong. I mean, this is a sport that was built on people doing things that nobody ever did. Freaking Randy Blockett sunk his friggin' boat to get under a bridge, and we celebrate that to this moment. Could you imagine if the internet was around then and there was a dude who was like, "Oh, you're sinking your boat. You're it's a travesty. You could be doing something that would make people unsafe on the water, and you are like the grotesqueness that has become the click chasing, and that's all it is now, dude. It can't be anything else.
That's all it is.
Cannot be anything else, because if it was,
It's monetizing clicks is all it is.
if
dude.
it was something else, there'd be more to it. But it's the same rhetoric every single time. And again, I have a lot of respect for what Randy Blockett's done in this sport. I have a
Sure.
lot of respect for him. I've enjoyed our conversations. I've enjoyed it. That's how you learn, speaking to somebody with different opinions. But that ain't, I would just wish Randy Blockett had respect for this generation of anglers, like I have respect for him. Like many of these young
And even
anglers
if you
would have had respect for him.
and even if you don't, man, set all that aside for Easton. This one, I mean, and maybe it happens again next year in Knoxville. I don't know. But, this one particular day, it's a guy's greatest accomplishment in a really young and fabulous career. I mean, the kid, dude, like, I was so happy for him. I obviously wanted Lee to win this tournament, and not just because I was in his boat, because he's a friend and he lives there and he's got so much history on Ray Roberts and all that stuff. But when it was over, when he caught that 8-pounder, I felt a little bit deflated for a few minutes, and all I could think about was, and I'll say this candidly, all I could think about, Dave, was, holy shit, this kid has just, like, he's about to win. I've got goosebumps right now. He's about to win the Bassmaster Classic, the ultimate goal of every childhood's dream. And I know that gets beat to death, but that's what it is. It's like winning. It's like being a little football player and winning the Super Bowl. It's like being a little league player winning the World Series and in the Major League Baseball. There's nothing that tops that. And for him to have done that at 22, his entire life and his entire career is ahead of him. And I'm so proud for him. I'm so happy for his family. The story that was meant to be, that was fate at its finest. And the way that it went down, the opportunity that Hunter Shryock, Lee Livesey, and Trey McKinney had to catch him, and all the drama that built throughout the entire day up until 2:36 p.m. was unfreaking believable. And I'm a camera guy standing on the back of my guy's boat, listening to it all on comm, and I was just like, "This has got to be unbelievable on television right now. This is awesome." And when he caught that 8-pounder, I mean, it deep down inside of me, I went, yes, because that kid, I mean, he worked his butt off for 3 days. He's extremely acute. Even his verbiage and his literacy is a higher level than, hell, most adult, or he's an adult, but older anglers. his vocabulary and his intelligence level is at a very high level. And it's like this kid. Someone mentioned to me that he reminds them of Aaron Martins, and while I don't see that, the intelligence, the acuteness of his intelligence, I see that part of Aaron Martins, and maybe he's his own person now. He's Easton Fothergill, and he's a hero to so many young anglers out there in college and high school and the junior nation that look up to him for what he did. And for anyone to try to bring him down, shame on you.
Yeah.
That is a fine, fine young man who was raised properly, and congratulations to Easton Fothergill.
Yeah. And in a world where you look at other sports and you see all sorts of things that you can point out wrong with those young athletes and things that you're like, we don't got that in bass fishing. And somehow,
Right.
a lot of these young anglers have been vilified. And trust me, Easton going to be catching bass whether if Bass makes an announcement in a week and says that forward facing sonar is gone, guess what? Easton's still going to be a player in next year's classic. Easton's still going to be a player. Easton fell in love with this sport long before a box that you have vilified. And there's all these people you have literally, he's put together a horde of people that have never used it, that act like this is some magic box. And I will invite you to come on my boat, and I'll show you how unmagic it can be at times.
Same here.
Is it what everybody else did? No, but neither. Mark Davis used to complain about GPS all the time, because before GPS, he was a master of triangulation and doing all these different things, and then it got easier. Guess what? He evolved with it. People, I mean, how many more tournaments does Kevin Van Dam win if Spotlock is just invented 10 years sooner?
I was just going to say. Right.
There.
Exactly.
The mapping chips, this sport has been fueled by technology. And again, I don't care that you dislike it. That's your opinion. That's the best thing about fishing. You could do it any way. You can fish with a bobber and a minnow. You can fish with a worm that you dig up at the side of the road. You can fish with as much technology as possible. You can do it the way you choose. But to point fingers and to judge and to break down, that's what I hate. And it's anything like, hey, there's empty seats in the arena. There was a lot of reasons why there was empty seats in the arena. I'm not even going to get into that. But the Classic was booming. And to sit at home and not even attend it and just to throw darts at it,
look through a tunnel, to completely look through a tunnel and make judgment calls and to bash it. I don't understand it, man. Like we need to change. We as humanity, this whole social media platforming has gotten so out of hand. And ironically enough, I've said that word like 8 times already, but one of the best, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, one of the best people at deflecting and reversing criticism on social media was on the show. Was on the show on Sunday? Deion Sanders.
Why did they put him on?
But man, he gets so much criticism for everything that he does, and he is one of the best at just saying, thank you for paying attention. Thank you for being here. I love you too. I mean, it's just water off his back, and that's why I respect him so much, because he understands how to handle it, because he's been getting hit hard his entire career as a player and as a coach, and he brought a lot of that on himself as the flashy guy that he was, but he understands how to deflect all that now. And I hope someone like Easton doesn't let that affect him at his young age, because when I was 22, little things like that, what people said about me, hurt my feelings, hurt me as a person, and probably made me make bad decisions, like getting in fights in bars.
You never did that, did you?
I did a couple times.
uh,
But yeah, I hope everybody just praises him, give the guy what he deserves. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't, I like for a day and a half, Dave, I was just like, I can't believe he just won the classic. Like he just won the classic.
second
And
youngest ever to do it.
with the largest
Win margin.
total weight
The largest total weight in the history and the second youngest ever to do it. And it's not him.
in 55.
It's not him. It's a machine. It's a machine. Well, how
Right.
come? What did the machine randomly decide that Easton's like? It's just hey, again, I've gone down a path that I didn't plan to go. And dude, if I just wanted clicks, I would just bitch about stuff because that's what gets clicks. But I'm just being honest. No different than if I heard a young angler dirting one of those older anglers. You know what I mean? Like disrespecting what they did. I would
Same.
stop at my tracks and I would say, show respect to the sport you profess to love. Don't disrespect the sport
Absolutely.
we all love. But if you want to be respected, you got to respect. And the amount of disrespect that has happened, and again, hate forward facing sonar all you want. That
Sure.
is not my point.
Sure.
My point is be a decent person and just don't pile on. And the world's just full of it. And I shouldn't even have brought it up because
Well, there's a past, there's a present, and there's a future in all these things in all the sports,
Yeah.
right? Or we could include that in everything that we talk about, but let's just integrate that into this topic, bass fishing and the classic or whatever, the history of it all. Even, those of you that have never seen the cast that we produce at Bassmaster at JM for Fox, you should go watch that show. If you would understand the history, the advancements of technology, the baits, the rules changes, the evolution of the sport is all featured on our show called The Cast. And when you look back at all that stuff, it's easy to accept. At least it is for me. I mean, I've never been a pro bass fisherman. I did grow up on Kentucky Lake, one of the historical bass fishing lakes and tournament lakes probably in the country. And it was a big thing when I was a kid. And all my friends bass fish. I've loved it my whole life. But I don't get stuck in this sphere um, of negativity because things change, and there's a past, there's a present and future. Like I talked about, the past is the history and the evolution. The present is who we look up to now, and regardless of how they fish or what boat they drive or who their sponsors are or whether they smoke cigarettes on camera or they drink beer after they come off the lake or they go home and pray to the Bible, whatever it is, those are the people that we look up to. And we all have our reasons as to why we look up to certain people, like the Brandon Poliniks and God rest his soul, Aaron Martins and the KVDs, the Greg Hackneys of the world and all that. And then there's the future. And these kids, the Hayden Marbutts and the Tucker Smiths and the Aaron McKinneys, and now the Easton Fothergill is the top of the future of our sport. And these kids deserve respect because 15 years from now, our opinions and the hate that goes out there towards the techniques that they're using and all that stuff, 15 years from now, I personally don't think it's even going to exist because it's going to age itself. Everything's going to age itself out, and we move. The future is called the future for a reason, and these we're watching it. We're watching the future come up. They've still got eggshells on their heads, and they're winning tournaments, and they may not be winning them the way that you want them to. But I mean, look at the first two tournaments. I mean, the first two tournaments of the year in Florida were won traditionally, and they're not always going to win every event, right? And so I just say, look towards the future. give these kids some respect, because they work as hard as anyone else, regardless of their techniques or tools or technology or whatever. They work their asses off every single freaking day, and they go through the same intense, stressful situations that everyone always has. I mean, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous, but
it's
you know, I salute all these young guys, man. It makes me root for them, not harder, but it keeps my compass pointed north, and it allows me to respect these kids, and I watch them closer on how they do everything, and it's insane. I mean, watching Easton out there in front of Lee, he was 75 yards on day 3, going back and forth, trying to figure out where his fish went and what happened, and you could see the intensity and the stress building, and Lee wanted to move up closer to him, and he didn't. He didn't move any closer to him. He pulled down right where he was, and he told me at least 3 times, I really want to move up there, but I'm not going to do that to Easton.
because
That was
he respects the
respect.
sport.
Exactly.
And
no one's bigger than the sport.
no, and
I'm sorry.
and you can't choose that you did it one way, and you know what I mean, and it's not that. That's life. It evolves. It changes. And again, I can't say this enough. I'm not saying that forward-facing sonar has to be here forever. I'm not saying that
Sure.
this is not a pro forward-facing sonar thing. This is just a pro humanity thing. I've heard
Yeah,
people
it's
say
just
horrible, disrespectful things like, well, Easton doesn't really have the record. It's still Kevin's because Easton cheated to get it. He didn't cheat.
Like he was on steroids.
He
or
didn't
something.
cheat. He used the rules that were in front of him. And guess what? You know who I have respect for? I have respect for Kevin Van Dam, who was there to congratulate him, who put his arm around him, never met him before a day in his life, and went to the champion's toast to congratulate him on taking his record. But that doesn't sell a YouTube video. That doesn't get the clicks.
Right.
It's way easier to be like, here's the 10 things I saw wrong, or here's it's just, it's sad. I mean, it's just sad, dude. And at the end of the day, hey, your son's boxing, and that's awesome. And I hope he is very successful at it. And everybody has kids in their life, whether they're their sons, whether they're nieces, nephews, whatever they are, whether they're just friends. And just put yourself, just to me, it's gross. Like, somebody works so hard to accomplish something, and people are benefiting from piling on, and just, it's just gross. The fact that we wasted 15 minutes just bitching about it bothers me, but it just,
and effort and energy and emotions.
yeah, I mean,
We've tried our best to stay away from that, and just kind of finally came out.
yeah, but we're gonna hear it now. Watch out.
That's okay.
I will never. That being said, an insane amount of humpers. I mean, the amount of people in the expo that would I'd be doing live, and you just hear proud humper, and I'd always respond, I love humpers.
That's awesome.
And watch all the other people around that didn't know what a humper was respond, and I had fun with it. I'd be like, well, none of us would be here without humpers. No, it is awesome, the amount of people that choose to listen to us talk. You don't have to agree with everything we say, but all I'm saying in this situation is just think. I get it. It's not, it's part of aging, man. Music's not the same as it, I mean, my taste in music, I'd say it's reached a point where it hasn't really changed that much. You know what I mean? I like what I like, and most of the new stuff I like sounds like old stuff. But that's okay. But I'm not like, I'll tell you what the problem with the world is this musician and their EDM. No, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. Let's leave this. Let's all get along, is what I'm saying.
Let's do.
There's no need for people to be punching each other in bars.
We love you guys. And I will say this too. Thank you to all the people that, I mean, I'm just a little
Oh, shut
dot on
up.
this
You are
screen.
Jacob Jake
And
Steak,
I
damn it.
want everyone to know that came up to me at takeoff along that fence on the beach, that made a point to say hello and that they love the show and all that stuff. Thank you so much, and it was so nice to meet all of you, and we really appreciate it
Yeah.
a lot.
And that's honestly the lesson that I learn in situations like this too. That's the takeaway. Like when you go to the expo and you can't move and you keep, you're trying to get across the street and you just keep running into people that watch the podcast that enjoy what we're doing, and the whole town is overtaken with all these people. That's the true, you know what I mean? It's real easy just
That's the essence of it all,
to
really.
sit on a
Yeah.
computer and complain. Well, come on, build it up, and if you want changes, I mean, enough.
Hey man, let me say just one last
I
thing.
wish
At the
you
end of
would.
the day, that's why I'll speak for myself. That's why I continue to do this. I mean, it's not the money, and it's not because I like to go out there and get beat up on rough water in boats all day long. It's actually, I've thought about, I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm getting to, an age, I've got my kids are at a certain age. Traveling becomes a hindrance for me, and how I support my children and all those things. And so I have these thoughts of how long can I do this? What, what's more important? All those questions that come up. And at the end of the day, the answer is the reason I do this and keep wanting to come back are two things: the experiences and the people. And it's the anglers, the work crew like you and everyone on our entire crew at Bass and JM, the fans that we meet all over the place. And that's what this is all about. It's all one big giant relationship, and it makes me feel good about myself, and that's why I keep coming back. So thanks everybody. That's all I'm going to say
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. And hey, here's the thing: people love something enough that they get passionate about it. That's the positive. Like I will say that the positive is that we all love this sport so much that we get passionate about it, good, bad, or indifferent. So let's all get along. Easton Fothergill, incredible champion, incredible story,
Unbelievable.
an incredible classic. It was a weird one. There was some weirdness that happened at different, you know what I mean? Like, but I ultimately, it's our job to put on a show. I think they put on a show. I think our anglers, I mean, none of the anglers fishing the classic. Anyways, it's all good. Life is good.
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
I like doing lakes like this. I wish it was closer to the arena,
Oh,
because
good God,
like
please
if
tell me.
if the Tennessee River were like that
Oh,
in
you can
Knoxville,
put those
we'd have
fish
it there.
in Knoxville.
Oh my God. I love the fact that every cast could be an 8-pounder.
Oh, it was awesome.
Or who's going to, I mean, Lee caught a 12-2 during practice. It's like, who's going to catch a 12-pounder?
I'm amazed we didn't see a
That-
double digit during the tournament.
Me too. As many fish, as many 8-pounders that were, that lake has got to be just completely full of 5 and 6 and 7-pound
Yeah.
bass. That's insane. I mean, really, really, if you caught 5, well, I shouldn't say that. 5-pounders were like 3-pounders in most places.
Yeah.
4.5 to 5.5 pounders were really common there.
Well, you look
So that was,
you look in the top 10 or the top 6, and I forget. I just remember during the press conference that James Hall hosted, and he's going through it. And Easton, obviously the most weight ever weighed in. Second was Trey, and it was like third most weighed in.
Lee
the
was
class.
5th.
Like in
Yeah.
all time. So weight wise, this was a huge win. There's so many.
All three, the top 3 guys, top 5, the all-time total weight for classic wins. I think Lee was fifth all
Wow.
time. Trey was third all time, and of course Easton was first. I watched both of those press conferences because I wanted to hear what they had to say. Those were pretty entertaining, actually. If you haven't watched it, to all you viewers, they're only like 12 or 13 minutes long. There's one interview with
Another feed.
the if you haven't watched, they're short, but they're really interesting because they talk about the baits, Corey, Hunter, Trey, Lee, and who else was up there?
Why are you doing this to me? I mean, I introduced them all. I mean, I got it at the moment.
Yeah.
Super
Anyway,
Six was
those interviews were cool.
Easton, Corey, Trey,
Mm-hmm.
Lee, Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and John Cox. What is
John
wrong
Cox,
with you,
that's
you
right.
dumbass?
Duh.
He had a lot on the line this week.
I love that.
Two
guy.
winners of the Classic outside of not winning, John Cox and Lee Livesey, I think. They had big weeks. Fans loved what they were up to. There was lots of winners and some losers on this Classic. I mean, parking was way too much. Bass had nothing to do with that. But big cities like that ream you. I mean, I live near Toronto. I understand what it costs. It's
traffic,
stupid. Traffic was a problem. We were too far from... But, I mean, trust me, Bass will assess all of that stuff and always try to make things better.
I mean, we're going back to Knoxville.
That's going to be fun.
Everybody, I love going back to Knoxville.
Yeah. I need to get in good enough shape so Mayor Kane can choke slam me. That's my goal. I mean, I want to get choke slammed by him. He agreed to do it, but my back wasn't in good enough shape last time. I got another shot at it. That's it. Operation Dropping Dave. I'm going to drop a lot of LBs just so I can get choke slammed.
Well, let's next year at Knoxville, or maybe even the next event, let's make sure we get together and go have dinner or something. I've hardly spent any time with you at any of the events yet this year. We've been so busy.
It has been.
I think I saw you twice. I saw you twice at the Classic, in front of the boats.
Yeah, I mean, the Classic's stupid. I mean, and one of the times I saw you at the Classic, we were live. I mean, I'm always streaming. I mean, whether it's Mercer in the morning, whether it's whatever show Bass has me doing, it seems like we're just streaming at all times. But
constant.
Remember, there was a time when people couldn't get any reports of the sport. Now it's just like there's too much stuff.
Too much overload.
And in some situations, I agree. But I also choose, like, I mean, I asked Easton during the interview, and everybody saw this. I said, in your world, like, if you go on the internet, there's a bunch of people who are saying, oh, it's not what it was. It's not. In your world, what is the feeling about bass fishing? He's like, it is alive and well. It's better than it's ever been. And it really, that's the truth. Like, that's
the perspective.
It's new country versus old school country. You know, there was a time where people were like, who is this Garth Brooks flying around a stage? That is not Waylon Jennings. That is not. And that's fine, because guess what? He doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? And now you look at, I mean, everything progresses, everything changes.
So someone asked me at the event, had I ever been to a NASCAR race? And I've been to 3 in my life, and one was way like back in the 1977 at Talladega, when the cars were actual stock cars, and the vendors were selling T-shirts and stickers on card tables under tents. And now, you know, I don't even know what you call them. They're not stock cars. No. They're race cars, and they're souped up race cars. And so, you know, man, again, I'm not going to open that can of worms.
You are.
Again,
You're trying to. You're flirting with
evolution. Is evolution, and here we are, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And
yeah, and you know, I'm proud to be part of a sport and an industry that filled an entire city. Like, the amount of people that were there, for the expo, for the takeoffs, for even though it was logistically a bit of a nightmare to get around, even though parking was expensive, you couldn't move in a hotel, you couldn't move in a restaurant because people are that excited about bass fishing. It's pretty freaking
I heard
good.
the expo on
It's pretty freaking good.
I heard the expo on Saturday was shoulder to shoulder. Like
it
it was
jammed.
really crowded.
It was jammed.
Yeah,
It was jammed.
that's badass.
It was a
man.
great setup
That's
for the
awesome.
expo too. Like to have it all in kind of building side by side. I just wish that the weigh-in was right there. I mean, and our weigh-ins are too long.
Yeah.
Trust me. As when I get people sending
You're
me
the
messages-
longest.
when I get people sending me messages saying the weigh-in's too long, I'm like, yeah, it is. It's way too freaking long. That's part of the problem with 56 boats going from an hour and something away. I mean, it's just, but again, all these people are here to celebrate a sport we all love. Like, let's be thankful because there's a lot of sports out there that wish they were, you know what I mean? I mean, just talk to a walleye pro, just any John Hoyer, awesome dude. When we had something going on where I was like, yeah, the guys at the Classic are upset about something. This was a couple of years ago. And he looked at me like, what the walleye world would be
Exactly.
like, well, where do we sign up for this? But all we can
They've
do
been
is poke
trying-
holes in it. And
They never could get there. That was a sport that I actually used to tour as an amateur on the PWT
of course
tour.
you did.
I did that for 5 years, and I always thought, I was like, they wanted so bad to be at the level of Bass and Ray Scott and the fishermen. The Lindner brothers tried so hard. Jeff Simpson, everybody that was a part of that worked really, really hard. The Gary Parsons and the Keith Cavizes of the world, they were superstars. Like they were the Kevin Van Dams and the Greg Hackneys of the walleye fishing world, and they just could never get there. So, like you said, dude, look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
And part of that
It's
is I think
unbelievable.
Bass has the advantage of bass are everywhere. Every state. You know what I mean? A lot of Canada.
Wish they were bigger in Colorado.
Well, yeah.
But we do have bass.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. Where walleye just aren't everywhere. And they taste so damn good. People love to eat them. But, you know, let's be thankful for the blessings that we have because they are many. They are many. And one of the
100%.
best blessings we have is a freaking incredible Bassmaster Classic champion, a young person that is going to teach the world about resilience. And we have an event where a dude can literally, in 3 days, go from being Easton to Beaston. And that's exactly what he
Easton
friggin' is.
Fothergill. Get used to it, people. He's going to be around. He's going to win a lot of money in a lot of tournaments.
Yeah. And guess what? Down the road, people will respect him for it. And hopefully, when he's an older guy and on YouTube or whatever it is at that time,
they'll be complaining about
he
something
was.
else.
I mean, dude.
UFOs. We touched on that with John
Oh,
Garrett.
there's some UFOs. That's the thing. All right. This has been it for Jake's take, right? Is that all? What are you going? Are you going to scale a mountain now, or what's next?
No, I'm going to go coach boxing in about 30 minutes.
Well, you could have done that at the Omni Bar.
That sounds like somebody needs some some coaching if they got choked
Well, no,
out.
I mean, hey,
I know.
I think it escalated quickly. I think there was a little bit of a 2-on-1 situation at one point. I don't know what happened. I mean,
I'm going to find out.
I don't. Well, I actually do know what happened, but sure, we're going to do another podcast one day.
I'll call you later. Some things are just not worth opening up.
Let's all get along. Listen, nobody deserves to be getting punched in the mouth over bass fishing, and nobody deserves. I mean, I think we've tried to fix the world here today. I think we've done. We've reported on the tournament. We've tried to make the world a better place, and we've probably really pissed some people off. But
that's the way it goes sometimes. We love you guys.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That is for sure.
And we respect you. And I respect even the people that I spoke of in this podcast. I have a lot of respect for them.
100%.
I just wish they had the exact same amount of respect for everybody else in the industry, because they're no different than you were when you were 22 years old. They went to bed dreaming of accomplishing something, and they did everything they could to do it.
And one person just did.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Unbelievable. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
See you in North Carolina.
Yeah. In what?
2
What's
weeks?
it called? What's it
I don't
called?
even
I've been
know.
practicing it.
Dude, I can't
No,
even
I
say
can
it.
say it. I can
It's
say
worse
it.
than
No,
Latendresse.
it is. It is right there. No, I can say it. I've been practicing. I got to read it. Pasquotank River. Pasquotank.
What he said.
Pasquotank.
What he
Yeah.
said. So just real quick. So it's a tidal river, right?
The
Is that
beginning
right?
of this, we said we were going to be 30 minutes.
I know. Okay, let's go. We can talk about it later.
We could talk. We could do a pre-Pasquotank River show.
There you go. Let's do.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
He never stops. He just keeps talking. I love you, Jake. No, always good stuff from Jake Latendresse. Actually, one of the things stood out for me in this last little bit. Go back and listen to the Beaston interview. It's crazy how often you hear his phone go vibrating just on the desk. If you listen ever so closely, like if you want some kind of an idea of what it's like to become the Bassmaster Classic champion, listen to that. I mean, it's like a freaking... It's like a high school drug dealer's friggin' pager. Hey, we got into some stuff this show, but I just want to remind you all that I respect the people I talked about. I just don't respect some of their takes on things. And I think somebody had to stick up. And it's really cool to see that there's a lot of people starting to stick up and say, hey, have your thoughts. That's cool. But here's an idea. Just share your thoughts from facts. Don't just attach your narrative to people that are doing good things and that make this industry better. So what I'm saying is freaking build it up, right? Wow, that was a real one-on-one monologue moment. I went somewhere, but I'm back now. But I'm leaving. This has been... I need to sleep is what I need to do. I mean, it's that time of the week that, I hardly have any voice and I should just sleep. So I'm going to do that. Have a great week. Enjoy being. And as always, Bob Cobb, I respect you. Respect is a circle. You get what you give. And Bob Cobb, I respect you. Take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?